We set the trends in this Crips. You are, you have been, you will be under the groove.
Snip this glue, get in the zone, because we got to go do something. So that's what we did. And I'm going to be honest with you, I used to like it. Got people from the east and the west and different places, you know, to come over and groove with us.
Was Hoover grooving some part of Hoover? You know, never met a Hoover groove. Me neither, never in my life. But
a part of what was called the Bonzella Crips.
Hoovers ain't starting no Hoover Crips. And we hit that hand moving on you, walking in your house.
Wait, do that again.
Hit that hand moving on you, that messed up your whole party. You all, you have been, you will be under the groove.
Trey, 7-11, the Deuce, and the 9. This is a magnificent Hoover Hay to all the cultural enthusiasts, the Hoover Knights, and most certainly the collective. To start, there's been a lot of bantering about, you know, some of our previous episodes, as well a great deal of critical criticism pertaining to those episodes in question. So in the interest of continuing this endeavor that speaks to our origins, history, and our experiences with others, through dialogue, we have before us 2 reputable 107 Hoovers who have been sanctioned, and I hope I'm okay, you know, to use that word, you know, who have been sanctioned by their founders and OGs and other reputables from 107 Hoover to sit before us and partake in this discourse. Man, look, it's about 107 ties to 9 Deuce Hoover, to the underground Crips, as well as the West Side Crips and others. So that's why they're here, man. We're here to expound upon that, man, you know, and get to the nitty-gritty of some of this history, these origins, man, that Hoover is evolved around, or that evolves around Hoover. All right. I see this though as a pivotal moment. You know, this interview, man, is pivotal in that I got the 107 involvement, you know, in this process. So, you know, this process continues, and it continues by their being here. It's a validation, so to speak. It's a validation, and I appreciate that. And I know the Hoover Knights and the collective appreciate you guys' presence here, man. Look, this mix that we're about to put forth, it's gonna concrete, it's gonna cement, you know, Hoover's history. It's gonna help do that, man. You know, and it's gonna also express and explain the contributions, not just Hoover, but 107 as well, to this get out, you know. So hey, man, without further ado, what it do, man, I need y'all both one at a time. Let the people know who's sitting before them, man, who's about to, you know, cut it up with them.
Well, this is Lil Red from 107th Street, you know, Hoover Hay.
Yeah, this Doboy from 107th Street, Hoover.
Okay. Is it coming through clear? You got that? All right, man, because this shit is, like I said, it's pivotal, I think. You know. First off, man, who's oldest?
The oldest?
Yeah, who's oldest?
Probably Doboy.
Actually, I already knew that, you know. Let's see if Red can get that up. Okay, look, man, how old are you, Doboy?
61.
Red, you 60.
60.
You 60. Okay. Look, man, y'all older than me, you know what I mean? So, you know, I know of you two, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's appreciated that y'all here, man, before this get down, man. So, like I said, man, it's an honor. I just want to say that right quick. It's an honor, man. So
appreciate being
let's get into, man. Where y'all grow up at?
I grew up on 107 and between Vermont and Butlawn.
Okay.
I grew up on 88th Street between Vermont and Butlawn.
Okay. Oh, this is some good shit. I already see this coming. So look, did y'all know each other as kids?
Yeah.
Growing up?
Yeah.
This is how it was?
Yeah.
You know, knee-high to a grasshopper, one of the phrases I use.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's what's up, man. You know, to come up like that with cats, you know what I mean? You know, or you've grown up with, it's like, you know, I think that's an extra bonus. I mean, you grew up with them and you still with them. That's a bonus.
Oh, yeah.
That's a bonus, man. So you guys grew up together, man. What was it like? Can y'all share with us, man, some of the things that as children, because that's where I want to start from, as children, that you guys recall, man, that did most likely impressed upon you a certain mindset, man, growing up, man? What was some of the things you guys did that stuck with you or that helped develop you as kids?
What developed me as being a kid was growing up on 107 and being a kid, you know what I mean? We used to we did dirt bike riding.
Okay.
After school fights because at our school at that time, which was Woodcrest Elementary,
Okay.
was for my school, Woodcrest. It was like it was a school of like what can I say? I could say a lot of it was a lot of fights and it was a lot
at
of
Woodcrest.
At Woodcrest because everybody was like back then it was like everybody had a brother that was either of the underground Crip or they had family members that was block Crips or West Side or something like that.
Right.
And it was like it was just it was family. Like I said, it was a lot of families.
That was in elementary.
That was in elementary at Woodcrest that had family. Somebody in their family member was connected to either underground Crip or a West Side Crip.
Okay.
And it was like back then it was more like streets. You know, a lot of streets played sports against each other.
Okay.
Or fought against each other.
Okay.
And things like that. That was the part of growing up in that area.
So for instance, let's say like 106 would play 107 in football.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's how it was. 106. I play 106, 107, 105th. We all played sports against each other in the beginning. So that kind of like having sports against everybody in these streets gave us a connection to know each other. Like,
that's right.
And it let us know each other and stuff like that. So that's what the fun part about it was.
It was almost like a bonding process.
It was a bonding. That's why we call Woodcrest the old school, because the old school is what kind of like brought everybody to know each other. Like, so that's what the good part about it was.
Okay. What about you, Doboy?
Well, basically, same thing Lil Red said, but I went to like Manchester Elementary School. So I was around a lot of trades and foes.
Okay.
When I was in elementary school, I used to go down there. You probably know the big house on 83rd, they call it the Castle.
Castle.
Yeah, I used to be all up in there.
Yeah.
Ride my dirt bike. Me and some of the trades that grew up now. I used to go to Manchester Park when I was young. Used to go swimming all the time. Like I said, a lot of trades and foes up there.
Yeah, Manchester was a mainstay for sure. Manchester Park. Well, back then, and I just want to jump in, Sportsman's Park as well. That was somewhere else I remember going to as a kid, hanging out and shit, So for you growing up, I would take it that, you guys grew up together, but you probably had different perspectives, you know what I mean? In terms of, what you remember, what you did and how it affected you. Anything in particular you remember as a kid, man, that kind of, not necessarily steered you towards the set, because I ain't trying to go there yet, but kind of helped you develop as a kid. What did some of your memories, man, to help develop you?
Just being around certain individuals like Bodine.
Yeah.
Donald Bodine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he the one who really like brought me closer in with the set.
Okay.
Like 9 Deuce first.
Okay.
I wasn't originally from 9 Deuce, but back then everybody and their mama was claiming 9 Deuce.
9 Deuce. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And like when I was in elementary school at Manchester, I had an older sister and she went to Bred Hart first. So I was like, I can't wait to get Bred Hart, so I can meet certain individuals that I was hearing about when I was in elementary school. So my situation as being young, I used to be in trouble a lot.
Right.
Man, it was crazy.
You was getting them swats and shit. Back then they was giving out swats. I remember that shit.
Yeah, Mr. Finley, Mr. Cartwright.
Man. So I have a question, and you mentioned Nine Deuces. Everybody was from Nine Deuce. But you also mentioned earlier, before there was Nine Deuce, there were other sets, and you guys are probably familiar with them, you know, because in that area I wasn't familiar with them in that area.
Everything was like in by Woodcrest 107 and all that. Everything was like underground or block or West Side or whatever. Like I can remember being a little kid because I was so exposed to it at a young age, you know, being on 107 since I was like 6, 7 years old. And I remember like seeing like Bogart and, you know, Monkey Man, Godfather, Tookie, all of them walking down our street. And I can remember me and my little partners at that time, me and my friends, we'll see them walking down the street and we'll walk up to them and be like, cut, Rick. And there's these little badass little niggas, you know. And that's how our neighborhood was. It was like everybody was hogs. Like, and like I said, it was to the point where everybody had a brother, a relative, or somebody that was connected to West Side or Block or that's just how it was.
Okay. And it had to be, well, you was Woodcrest.
Yeah.
And you were Manchester.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I suspect, it was different. You know what I mean? In some ways, in terms of going to school.
Yeah.
Because Woodcrest was a totally different school from Manchester.
Right.
I know that. I went to Woodcrest. You know, we lived on 106 back in the day. So, yeah, I knew it was a different school. You know, I went to Woodcrest, Manchester also. You know, but Woodcrest was totally different. For you, in terms of, you know what I'm saying, what you were exposed to, like he said, Red said, hey man, we saw these cats walking up 107. You know what I mean? What was your exposure? You know, at that age, did you have it?
Well, it was like older, it was an older generation in the area that I lived in, and they was claiming everything. You know what I'm saying? Like
it was a mixture, huh?
Yeah, it was a mixture and everything. So I was exposed to that at a young age, you know, but I never claimed what they claim. I just used to see them walking around.
You recall some of the sets?
It was one called 88th Street Block, and then they had what's that other one? I know it was the 88th Street Blocks. And
with Denver Crips around at that time, because that would have to be sort of in the area of Manchester. You know,
No,
I don't know if
Denver Crip was more closer to about Tams.
Oh, is that right?
That's what Denver Crip was at.
Okay, they didn't come back that far.
No.
Okay. So 88 Block. I never heard of that. Honestly.
Yeah, that was. I think
never
I
heard
was
of 88 Block.
Probably around like maybe 10 years old.
Damn. Yeah, see, that's some old shit. That's some old shit. You just said something about rib. I remember the songs, the cadence they used to do too. Some shit, Let It Rain, Chain Gang. It was some more shit that it slipped my mind right now, but that was one of them. We lived on 106. So I used to hear certain cadences. You know what I mean?
That was one of
Let It Drip, rib.
That was one of Lil Moo. Lil Moo was the one. His saying was, "Let it rain, let it drip." There's still 107th Street Hoover Crip.
No shit.
That was Lil Moo made that.
Moo did that?
Lil
Moo, yeah. No shit.
Yeah, Andre Jones. That was another big part of my growing up, because Andre Jones and me, my family, and our families was like connected. Like my big brother, Moo, Sam, Dora Ransom, the Ransoms. Everybody was like, they was like family. It was like brothers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so at that time, that's just how it was, man. And Moo used to sit there. That's where I got my name from. A lot of people don't know that, but Andre Jones was like, Andre Jones was like, he used to use that he knew my brother, right? Okay. So he knew my brother. Back then, brothers was big brothers, and brothers would kick your ass. And back then, it was a lot of fighting. You know what I mean? So Andre Jones was the one. Ani was the one that used to always tell me. He'd come tell me somebody wanted to fight me, or he said this or that. He gonna whoop your ass, and he was like, okay. Then he'd say, "Lil Red, He'd be like, boom, I'm, you know, like to let me know, like, you know, if you don't get down with this motherfucker, I'm gonna tell Big Red, you know. So that's just how it was. So it was a lot of fighting, and it made me I appreciate everything that happened to me as a kid, because Ani was the one that he wanted me to be there on this stage. He wanted me to be on the big stage for him, you know?
Yeah. Real shit.
So,
and I think we had discussions previous to you sitting down. We're gonna discuss Ani to some degree, you know what I mean? We'll, you know, have conversation about that. But Doboy, as far as you heard that, are you related? Is family members involved? You know what I mean? We know Lil Red, you know, we know that connection. Do you have similar connections?
Yeah, I do. I have a cousin from the set too.
Oh yeah?
Neckbone.
Okay. Oh man.
Yeah.
Hey, Bub, can I say one thing though? I like to say rest in peace to his sister Pam. She just passed away. The one got a baby by Big Bodine.
Oh yeah? Okay, so rest in peace, man. Our condolences as well.
Appreciate it.
And you were just saying that she was going to Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And she coming back with the stories and you couldn't wait.
Yeah, I was, man, the stories she used to tell me, I'm like, I can't wait to get there. But when I got there, you know, she started introducing me to a lot of, you know, like Junior Rock and him, Dwayne, Nina, just a lot of individuals that was non-deuces, you know, and I'm like, okay.
So that's 7th grade. You hit Bret Hart. Now you coming into this fold, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Impressive. The lineup, was it impressive? I mean, you know, you just named Junior Rock, and others.
Yeah. It was a lot of non-deuces there, you know, and like I wasn't like officially non-deuce,
right?
But I fell in there.
Yeah. It's so part of the clique, none, right? You know, so to speak.
That was the first set I claimed, non-deuce.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was from 7th grade
till probably about, well, I know I was from 107 to 77.
Okay. So that
from that point on.
Yeah, from 7 to then.
Yeah.
Let me jump over to Red. So I take it wasn't Bret. Was it Bret Hart? Did you go to Bret Hart or did you go to?
No, man. It was crazy because that had a lot to do with the way our set was built, because on 107th Street, it's crazy because on 100, a lot of people don't know this, but on 107th Street between Vermont and Butler, it's like a borderline. So this side of the street had to go to Henry Clay, and this side had to go to Bret Hart.
Yeah.
So I had to go to Henry Clay, and I was mad as hell because I wanted to go at that time, but I wanted to go to Bret Hart because I was, you know, like as a kid, you know, 9 Deuce was a main juggernaut like back then. Everything was 92nd, and all the way to Imperial was 9 Deuce. So back then, you know, I'm gonna keep it real. Like everybody else, I was young. I was a little kid. I was a dirt bike rider, but everything, like I said, I claimed 9 Deuce. I got a difference between how I put gang banging and claiming. But I threw up the Deuce because that's all I knew. On 107, all the OG 9 Deuces was coming over there. You know, Moo them, my brother and them was 9 Deuce. You know, but at that time, everybody threw up 9 Deuce. I was locking and shit and throwing up the Deuce.
Oh, that shit. So you said you look at shit different in terms of claiming and actually representing. And how's that? You know, what is that perspective? Explain that. Was it because you were family oriented into it?
I was raised, like I told you before, I was basically raised into it because, like I said, as a kid, my little story was kind of different because my story was, you know, my big brother and Moo and Big Chug and Sam, Durrell. I mean, all the big homies and shit. They all slept at my mother's house. Everybody was at my mother's house. I watched everything grow. So it was more like, to me, that the big homies, like, for example, I'm gonna give you this example. I used to go to like different schools and wherever I was at, right? And like all my big homies at that time was all like when they hit a school and hit the gate, it was like motherfuckers say their names. It was like people, the kids thought Godzilla was coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
And at the same time, they'll see me and walk up to me and be like, "Hey, Lil Red," you know, because Moo started calling me Lil Red when I was little. Because Ani told him, you know, he'd talk about the fight. And like, Lil Red had a fight, and Moo would start laughing. But all my big homies, you know, that was just that was just like, you know, they'd tell me to go get my brother. Hey, Lil Red, you know, it was more like a little man. Like, so they just, everybody was calling me Lil Red. So that's just how my name came. But it all started with Ani though. But I watched, like I said, my brother and them, I was raised into it. Even though I was a kid, I watched it all. I watched it all grow. And like I said, they'll see me and they'll be like, Lil Red, like I'll be at school or something. And the whole school would be like, "Oh man, he know Dora Ransom." Like, or you know,
you were popular.
Yeah, you know I was popular just because the big homies see me and recognize me in front of all these nobodies. You know, like, I ain't saying they nobodies, but they
wasn't on that status.
They wasn't on the status.
Yeah, and if you getting this from the G's, that's like that's almost godlike. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit. So I need to ask you: was your experience or anticipation to junior high school the same as Doboy's was? Because Duboy's like, man, I couldn't wait.
When I went to Henry Clay, by the time I went to Henry Clay, see my brother, you know, all my big homies, they gangbang. My big brother, in his eyes, I was always his little brother. So at that time, he didn't really want me to be in gangs and stuff like that, because I really didn't have to, because my brother, I don't know what he was doing, but my brother used to have bags of money and tell me he'd take 2 handfuls. And, you know, he always gave me money, but I think deep down inside, he already knew that, because like I said, all the big homies, little brothers, and I knew everybody. And I was,
he knew it was coming.
He knew it was coming.
He knew you'd be a part of this. Yeah, let's get down.
You know, and that's just how it was. I was, like I said, Ani, Big, Lil Cole, all my homies that was like, kind of like I said, you know, it's a difference. Like I look at it like this: if you claiming, you just, like back then we was dirt bike riders.
That's right.
We was locking. Motherfuckers, every set had lockers, you know.
Real shit.
Crip walkers.
Real shit.
You know, Donald Bodine was one of my favorite Crip walkers. I used to Crip walk at parties and shit. You know, I was in for the girls and all that type of shit. But I was be like 92nd Street. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't like active like my brother and them at that time.
Right.
You know.
So when you got to Henry Clay, what was that experience like? Just based on the fact you saying, hey man, you was already in your own right a star, just based on your relationship with your bro and everybody that knew your bro knew you and fuck with you. What was that like, man?
Well, Henry Clay at that time, that was like when the 92nd was. That's when 92nd was kind of like hitting. Was that? I'm not for sure. I remember Henry Clay. I believe 107 was out when I was in Henry Clay. You know,
you hit Henry Clay what year?
Shit, I can't even remember.
Doboy say
probably like 70, probably like 77 or something like that.
Because Doboy, you claimed Salo, you started repping Salo in 77. First you was 9 Deuce though. Yeah. Same with you?
Yeah, I was 92nd Street. Yeah, it was crazy how I ended up. It was crazy.
Well, hold on. Because I'm gonna add Doboy first.
Okay.
How did that happen for you?
Well,
the 107 chapter, you know what I mean? You becoming a 107 Hoover Crip. How did that happen? Did your sister have anything to do with it? You know what I mean? Did she know the homies and shit? You know,
9 Deuce, yeah, but not 107.
Okay, now say long.
107 came along, like Bodine. I was younger than Bodine, so he used to take me around. You know what I'm saying? And introduce me to certain homies. But then Killer is actually the one that
from 107.
Yeah, that I was like, me and he was like my brother. So we was like, just every time you see him, you see me. So we was always like in the set and everything. And that's how
it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, shout out to Bodine, man. Yeah. Anyway, I'm come back to you on some shit. For you, what was it like? Well, like I said, you was already famous, but when was it official? 107 Hoover.
Okay, on our street on 107. 107 was already like at that time when I was young was already popping. But my brother and them was like 90 sec 9 deuces, and they was always gone like down. Like they was, you know, they'd be down there in the deuce or whatever, or then they started hanging on 101st and Hoover. That's what the main street they was at. That was Big Cove, and that's where they first hanged at. That's why people ever looked at you know, I wish Twin was here, he can tell you. But people look at that movie Baby Boy.
Yeah.
If you ever looked at Baby Boy and on the movie, they asked him where you be at. He said, I'll be on 101st where the Hoovers be at.
Yeah.
John Singleton lived on 101st.
Yeah.
John Singleton, that's where he got that from. Because that's where the homies hung at first. All my big homies hung on 101st and over there. By
So
Big
John
Cove.
Singleton lived on the set.
He lived on 101st. You know, he was posted, he did Boys in the Hood and he did Baby Boy. That's why
right.
Vin Reams, when he was on there, when he had the Hoover on his back, he was like, I'll be on 101st.
Yeah.
Where the Hoovers be at. Yeah, because that's where the homies was over there, and that's where John Singleton lived at.
Wow.
You know, a lot of people don't know that. You know what I mean? But but what happened was my brother and them, and at these days on the set, my brother and them used to fight. Everybody used to pull up. It was always a fight on 107. So 107 was already like it was already where like everybody knew it was finna be some action. They knew that these young motherfuckers is finna get down with somebody tonight, or it was something. You know what I mean? So at this time, you know, the big homie Dopey and them and all the other homies from 9 Deuce, they used to come over there. So my brother and them at this time, they was like, you know, Dopey came over there. You know, that's the big homie. Him and my brother always was real close. Dopey and Cartoon named my brother. But what happened was my brother and them was already started hanging on 107 a lot. So my brother had a fight with Dopey on 107. And so once my brother had a fight with Dopey, the big homies was like, well, fuck it. We ain't going, you know, we ain't going down there no more. We're going to stay here.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because me and my brother, we all lived on 107 and stuff. Moo and them lived on 106. So they was always on 107. 107 was already, like I said, you know, not to speak bad, because rest in peace to my father, but 107 always had like the weed, Sherm. My dad sold Havron. He was fucking with like Fast Eddie and them, and he was into that type of game. So all the people was already, 107 was already rocking with all kind of shit. It was up. And so at that time, my brother and them was like, you know what? After my brother had a fight with Dopey, which you know, they was best friends. But my brother had a fight with Dopey, and the big homies was like, you know what? You know, we're going to just stay here. You know what I mean? This is our set. So I remember, I'm going to tell you this. One day I had a fight. No, I didn't have a fight. I was locking. This is when I started becoming a real 107. Was I had got into it with some cats like on 109th somewhere at a party, you know. So they act like they want to rat pack me. So I'm a 9 Deuce. I'm in that Crip walking. They mad because I guess they girls start liking me or something. You know, I'm saying I'm from 92nd, so I did a little spin and hit Woodcrest Gate because 107 is right there. I hit Woodcrest Gate and I hit 107th Street. So when I get on 107th Street, my brother, Ani, everybody's on 107. So when I hit the gate, Ani seen me and said, "Look, Red, what's wrong with you?" You know, I said, man, these motherfuckers tried to rat pack me. He said, do they know who you is? You know, because to Ani was like, do they know like who, you know, that you would know? Because you fuck with me. See, my brothers and Moo and everybody was like this. Ani would get into it with somebody, my brother and them would go fuck them up. Even though Moo might say Ani bullshitting, my brother and them would go fuck him up, and it was just vice versa. So Ani seen me, was like, "Lil Red, you know, did they know who you was?" You know, I said, "Yeah, I told him I was from 9 Deuce." He said, "Stop saying that. We 107s," and that's the history. Okay, so you know we about to. I want to tap in or touch on that subject, the origins of 107. Where did it come from? Who did it come from? You know. So if y'all cool with that, you know, we can have that. I got no problem. I got. You know, I already talked to the dinosaurs. That's what my creator. I said in the beginning, you guys are sanctioned to have this conversation. So you spoke to dinosaurs, and they want to be, because it's like this, bro. It's a lot of Hoovers right now, like a lot of 107 Hoovers, and we got a lot of Hoovers out of town, out of state, and all that type of stuff. And I know history is a motherfucker because I was always fascinated about knowing about Hoovers.
Come on.
So I know everybody want to know where they come from, you know, and the best person to say it, you know, tell us is us. Because like I said, I grew up on 107th Street where it was created from the time I was like 6 years old.
Okay. So the proposition that Moo started 107 is not necessarily correct.
Put it like this. Our set was built on, we had knocked down motherfucking soldiers from our set. I mean, we had knocked down motherfuckers that was, all my big homies was locked up when Moo was there. And it was like Moo, I tell you, Moo loved us. Moo, when they was all locked up, it was homies that we had that was knocking people, that was knockout artists and everything, that was already like doing time for murders. Like when the set turned to set, they was still claiming 9. They was still 92nd. They didn't even know the set turned.
Went Salo.
You know what I'm saying?
107, right?
Yeah, they didn't even know the set turned. But the big homies and my brother and them, the ones that could, they was going to jails, or they'd let them know that, hey, we 107s now. Like, you know, or they get out of jail and find out what we was.
So my question though is, did Moo start 107, or did they read in
it was a collective. It was a collective, bro. It was like,
he in on that process?
Yeah, he was. He was Moo. Put it like this: if it wasn't for Moo, if it wasn't for Moo guidance on us, that I don't know where we would be, because Moo played the biggest part to me.
His fingerprint is on that for sure.
The big homies, that was all gone, my brother and all them, they loved Moo for doing that. You know, Moo was only big homie that's why we were so protective of Moo, because he was our big homie, he was our heart, and he was there to help guide us build this shit like that.
Okay.
You know, so people don't know this though, but at that time when all my big homies got locked up for like putting in work, you know, I'm gonna put it like this: it's different back then than it is now. I know when I was gang banging, it was like we looked at our big homies like, you know, we idolized that shit. Like they put their life on the line for this. Like, you know, some people be like, you know, some people look down on shit like that. But at that time, the soldiers that we had when 107, it was more like, you know, we felt like we need to put our life on the line because they did it.
So let me hit y'all with this question in the same regard what we discussed this vein. It's not just safe to say, but it's accurate to say then that Moo solidified 107 Hoover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being that the G's who had left had already left some sort of foundation of base already established for 107 Hoover. Moo came home and solidified that foundation. Well, is that safe to say?
Well, we want to speak.
Well, I just want to say, Moo hadn't went nowhere.
He had never
left.
No,
he never went.
So he was actually there when the foundation was being created.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what you guys are saying. He was at that table. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when Moo, when all of my big homies was gone, Moo didn't have to, like, what make Moo so great to me was that Moo at that time, he didn't even have to be there. Moo already, all my big homies at this time, they all had reputations. You know, they never had to, like, that's why I was tripping off that one video thing when, you know, that's my big homie, Hulk. I love Hulk and all that, but I'm gonna let you know, Moo wasn't no wall banger. None of my big homies was wall bangers, because it was only like, I think the big homie Jug wrote for all of them, but they reputation didn't have to. They didn't have to write on no motherfucking wall.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Got you.
They didn't have to write on no wall.
So when Moo supposedly that didn't happen,
no,
he wasn't that type of cat.
Moo was no. If anybody was, it was Ani. But Moo never had to write on no walls because his reputation was so high. All my big homies had the same reputation Moo had. They was all like knockdown artists.
So, and I want to get back because I like them hands and all of that shit. We're gonna backtrack a little bit, but I wanted to say for the people, just for clarification, that he was a part of that collective that established that.
Oh, no doubt.
That's safe to say. It's not just safe to say, is it accurate?
Exactly.
Yeah, because when our set really got built, because people don't know this, if it wasn't for like when Moo was there, Moo never went nowhere. But all my big homies
Everybody
left.
else moved. Right.
People don't know if it wasn't for the next generation, us, the set probably would have went extinct because all my big homies was getters.
Yes, sir.
They was all knocking them up. They was,
Yes,
you know, they was with it, with the business.
Yeah.
All my big homies.
Yeah.
Even shit, at that time, not just the big homies was gone, Ani, Big Lil Cole, they was gone. It wasn't nobody but me and other homies that was there, and we wasn't gonna let nothing happen to Move.
Right.
And that's just how it was back then. But yeah, every homie, we idolized different homies.
That's
it
true.
Wasn't like, I think sometimes when people say if somebody's a leader, everybody is following, you know, that person. But what Moo did for us was he let us know where our origin was. He used to take us as I was a little kid. He always watched me when my brother was gone. He used to take me to meet battles. He introduced me to Hoover Joe. He took all of us and at that time, he'd bring them on there, come on 107. He'd be like, this y'all big homeboy such and such. This your homeboy Big Sam. That's when I met Big Sam from before. Big Gooch. I mean, I'm talking about real motherfucking frontline Hoovers.
Slum down. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like I said, I appreciate this moment. It's pivotal. You know what, the question, I understand. I get it. You know what I mean? I understand the history, you know, a lot better now than I did, let's say, 6 months ago, a year ago. So when I'm asking, it ain't for me. It's to clear, you know, the way so dudes can see what the history really is, you know what I mean? So that they can understand from you guys' mouth, you know, it was a collective thing, you know what I mean? That foundation was set by a select few. And Moo was on that, you know, on that board, so to speak. All right. So that should clear that up. Trey folks, 7-11, the Deuce and the 9. You have been, you will be.
But we ain't game banging. This is about education. We trying to educate our youth right now,
nigga. Hey. Said day is the best day. Skip walking across the floor in the best way. From Trey to the one way. It's a stump day. LA to the NY. Let this funk play.
Back in them days, it was love, loyalty, respect, and honesty.
That's my nigga Gumby right
there.
You know,
ex-busters, hooks, and snitches put on pedestals and ventilators.
Say lows on that Hoover shit. HIP, Tommy Moo, one of the hardest poets I ever heard, connected with this star shit. Hey, baby Jap and Jap 5, quick to set it off on the mic in the shack live.
When the shit get real and feel to the wheel, and then you will see color. You sitting up in that motherfucker, looking at that light center, that death center.
Then they run into a witness stand, telling on their own homeboys.
Hoover stomp all night like this. Hoover stomp.
I know trouble. I know how to start them fiasco.
I'm a New York nigga in the Pacific Sun. I say West Side Hoover if you ask where I'm from. Province California runs, still infusing my lungs. All about my bread. I ain't leaving.
Understand the end game. What's your end game? What's your purpose?
Keep one in the head or I don't need a gun. I'm with Hawk on Hoover Street with a low ass drum. Hopping down Figueroa with a wholesale and cut. Moving like this, come second to none. Grooving like Scone Young, grooving like Booty Bone. I'm bad to the bone.